Welcome to Shul.com. We are learning from the Sefer Enlighten Our Eyes by Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Goldschmidt. It's a simple book on Shemirat Enayim, and we are reading from page 124, part 2, Repairing the Damage. Here are some of the ideas on how to repair damage done to the eyes, to be used in conjunction with sincere teshuvah. Simple eye contact transfers levels of kedusha, and helps to wipe the old blots off one's plate. Our holy sages come forward with some user-friendly suggestions of ways to tap into spiritual powers via our vision. For starters, when you are given an aliyah in shul, says the Reshit Chochmah in Shara Kedusha chapter 8, to be sure to follow along in the Sefer Torah. The Magen Abraham in Siman 114 quotes the Arizal, that a great spiritual light comes upon you by simply peering up at the parchment during Hagbah, or when they raise the Sefer Torah, until you recognize the letters. They exude a powerful radiance which will also help to erase old spiritual scars. Gaze intently at the face of a Sadiq. Then your soul will make contact with the light that is burning in his soul. This suggestion is especially effective on Shabbat and Yom Tov. As a side note, not mentioned in the book, the same way there's a benefit in looking at the face of a Sadiq, there is also a detriment looking at the face of a Rasha. That includes looking at news articles and looking at Rishaim from the Goyim, and even Rishaim from Has V'Shalom, from Am Yisrael. You have to be careful not to look at them in the face, and not even to look at people that are in their state of ka'as, of anger as well. When you go to shul, you are bringing your eyes to a kedusha power station by looking at a shul or a bet midrash. Even from the outside, your soul is elevated. Once you step inside, the effect is heightened, and even more so upon approaching the Aron HaKodesh. Looking at the name of Hashem spelled Yud K Vav K connects your eyes with piercing, penetrating rays of kedusha. The Ben Yehoyada on Masechet Shabbat 118 proposes looking carefully at the two-letter shins on the tefillin shel Rosh before donning it. You will thereby draw out and imbibe a special light from within them. This will also help you not to be mesiach da'at while wearing them. You could gaze at your tzitzit, says the Peleoetz and Re'iyah, and keep looking in the Sefer. When you learn, and in the Sidur as you pray. Rabbeinu Yonah writes in Sharet Teshuvah that shedding tears of remorse over our averot is a tikkun for sins committed by the eyes. The Orchot Tzadikim in Sharet Teshuvah adds that when a person cries over his averot, he should say, "May my tears extinguish your anger, and may my improved behavior turn your wrath away from me." Likewise, says the Peleoetz, crying upon hearing of the death of a Sadiq, or from longing for Mashiach, washes our eyes out wonderfully. See the Sefer Kedushat HaChaim for further ideas. Chapter 5, Practically Speaking, Part 1. This chapter was written primarily, but not exclusively, for those who find that they are particularly challenged. Some people, especially youngsters, may feel that something is wrong with them when they have to struggle so much. Starting out in life, the post-bar mitzvah bachur on his launch pad, fresh, raring, and ready to go, wonders and sometimes even agonizes over why this delicate issue proves to be such a toughie, when in reality it's the natural desire of any healthy man. If you feel challenged by nisyonot in the areas of kedusha, you are actually in good company. Why so? Hazal described the temptation, mit'aveh lahem umchamedatan. A man desires and craves these things, as brought down in Masechet Makot Perek Gimel, Mishnah Tet Vav. There is a natural craving for immorality implanted in all of us by nature. Are you nevertheless convinced that when you happen to have an extra hot temperament, well, scores of our best and finest frontline warriors find themselves pitted against those same odds. Rav Yisrael E. Weintraub Zatzal told someone who felt overwhelmed by his challenges in the area of Kedusha, "You have no idea how many of your peers feel the same as you." Though it could be true that you possess stronger than average base desires, still, you aren't alone. You'd be surprised at how many out there share your struggle and whose lot is to be buffeted by many a gale force wind. Even great people can never really feel safe. A full blast nisayon is notoriously likely to put to flight all yirat shamayim and lofty principles. It's really no simple matter these days for one's eyes to avoid encountering the inappropriate. I must note, this is especially true because we're living in Western countries, which really don't have any level of immorality. Pretty much everything's allowed, and especially living here in Miami, where it's pretty much summer all year round. So how does one cope when he needs his eyes to survey and scout, and he can't realistically walk blindfolded in the street? How can we, the undisputed master over what we expose our precious eyes to? Maybe you feel that you could not be trying any harder to get a handle on yourself, and yet mighty winds keep spinning you out of control. You could well be right. The answer to your predicament, though, is most likely a different, fresh approach. Along the quiet lane which each person travels alone in his quest for purity of soul, the following 3-point plan provides practical guidance to really make it happen. The 3 points. Point 1, minimize the nisayon. Each person must determine which areas in his life are his accident-prone zones. A calm frame of mind and being far away from places of temptation provide a relaxed setting that is ideal for laying careful plans on how to disengage from probable pitfalls. This will initiate a breakthrough in cutting his opponent down to size and forestalling snags. Let him recall the magnificent garden of beautifully fragrant roses that he has so longed to cultivate inside his neshama. All those masses of velvety petals in every vibrant hue. Then let him review what he'll need to do to restore that lovely garden, not just to wipe the paths, but to prune all unnecessary foliage and then to tackle the weeds, one by one. They have quickly grown tall and overarching, blocking out the sunlight from reaching the precious soil. It will require a strong hand to uproot them all and toss them into the waste heap ready for the bonfire. Please appreciate that there is a cost to Shemirat Enayim. It reduces one's choice of entertainment, modifies one's social calendar, and may even mean passing up on an opportunity for a financial advancement. So, really, when a person is going out of his way to look at the wrong things, it may seem on the surface that it's just looking, it doesn't look like there's much going on. What's the big deal? But in reality, according to the Sefer here, he's telling you that this form of entertainment, it's going to affect your social calendar. It means you're going to pass up financial advancements and success and many other things. Shemirat Enayim is a task that necessitates earnest application and a certain amount of sacrifice. But so is anything else in this world that's really worthwhile. Here are a few examples of effortlessly availing ourselves of the ever-present opportunities to earn Olam Haba by preempting trouble. If a friend stops to speak to you on the street, you may feel it wisest to courteously curtail the conversation, but meanwhile, why not maneuver yourself so as not to be facing the pedestrians? And if there is a vacant corner seat at the waiting room, it's there waiting for you. The trick is to keep far away from nasty potholes. Slip-ups are greatly reduced when we avoid engaging in anything that could bring on impure thoughts. It all contributes to a successful Shemirat Enayim. Point number 2. Be armed before you set off. Inside us exists the wise mind that understands all about long-term goals and investments. Together with it resides the bodily instincts that are drawn to instant pleasure with little vision of the future. The physical instincts, however, can be spoken to as one would explain something to a child. Children have limited grasp of the future, but if we speak to them on their level, they can follow the reasoning and choose to do what's right. Using simple language, one can similarly bring base urges to understand enough to be into conforming, into conforming. Start off on the right foot by pausing for a moment to get your act together before stepping outdoors. This works like magic. One may tell oneself, what's in it for me? Nothing. I've unfortunately seen those things enough times before. It catches, confuses, and upsets me, and I walk away empty. I feel much better without it, and just a couple of moments averting my gaze can help me retain my peace of mind. I'm not here for silly nonsense. These and those candy floss enticements that fool me over and over overheat my lowly desires while simultaneously cooling off my Yiddishkeit. I've plenty else to get on with today. I don't need it, and I don't want it. Articulation makes an idea real. It enables one to focus on the words and achieve an inner resonance with the concept. For an even more tangible weapon, you could write a little note on an index card and keep it in your pocket. Then, when something really tempting threatens to overpower your better judgment and you're in desperate need for a boost, it'll be ready to come out and buoy you up to safety. Don't worry, you won't have to do these things forever. It's just a short term venture. Beginnings are never easy. Give it just a few weeks of real determination, and the grip of old cravings usually subside. The difficulties should start to melt away as the new order becomes more automatic. You'll no longer need to keep briefing yourself over and over. All you'll need is a secondary but continuous input to keep you in the driver's seat. Point number 3, watch your step. The Rambam says that one's manner of walking distinguishes the wise person from the fool. Sauntering around like a tourist, drinking in the general atmosphere will invite problems. Such problems, however, won't arise when portraying a more businesslike air and walking briskly as though someone awaits your arrival. Part 2, the 3 ideas, the ABCs of getting back on track. This section, though applicable to all, has some especially comforting words to guide the individual who feels stuck in a rut. The dizzying monstrosities of Western society may have brought him to succumb at times to screaming temptation, and this will have left him battered and bruised. The following 3 ideas will help put the reins firmly back in the hands and help salvage his self-respect. Idea A. After a fiasco. What do I do after a fiasco? After I've seen something I shouldn't have. Shall I mourn? Shall I groan? No. Ignore it. Even in the case of a deliberate histaklut, the rule is don't let the regretting and grieving set in. Ignoration is the best medication. Never fight a sighting. Pay no attention to what you saw, inadvertently or otherwise, and you'll quickly bounce back into shape. It's only natural for the forbidden to attract a person on first sight. What Hashem asks is to immediately slam the brakes and right now resist taking even another half a look or giving a moment's further thought. Just keep on as if nothing happened to you, and you'll be deserving of seeing the Peneh HaShekhinah. What? How can that be? Yes, this is granted to you because you did not allow yourself to be dragged down by dwelling on what you have seen. Hazal in Derech Eretz, chapter 1, say, anyone who sees something unworthy and does not feast his eyes on it will merit seeing the Peneh HaShekhinah. Know that they talk of someone who saw something sinful, yet still he is promised this reward. The golden rule is that any harsh, self-berating thoughts that leave us deflated instead of strengthened definitely come from the Yetzer Hara's poisonous bruise. A few hardy individuals may actually find it serves their purpose, but for many of us, it would be a soul-destructive exercise, even though it might seem the frimmest thing to do. While ignoring past mistakes and simply continuing forward, where does remorse and rectification find its place? In Aviram, distances us from Hashem, whilst also leading us over to the other side, the dark side. Once the boundary into this domain has been crossed, we're in the Yetzer Hara's sphere of influence, allowing him a hold on us. Fantastic opportunist that he is, he immediately tries to change his hold into a grip, a clutch, and eventually a strangle, has v'shalom. Therefore, immediately after any misstep, ignore what has just happened. Escape before things become more serious. Picture the sad scenario of a fine youngster who had a good upbringing but has fallen into the wrong company and adopted their bad ways, even to the point of stealing. How would we come to his rescue? Prod him to return the dishonest money? Not yet. He's not ready for that. First, we must get him to stop meeting up with those unsavory friends. Only then can we start to help him repair the past damage. The Jewish year is a role model for this. We have to experience the inspiration of Rosh Hashanah before we can face the day of rectification for our misdeeds, Yom Kippur. Being that Shemirat Enayim is such a delicate subject, before dealing with past sins, we need to be at a safe distance. For now, award no space in your mind for any disappointments in yourself, and certainly never wallow in thoughts that might lower your self-esteem. Idea B: no success too small. Don't let anyone tell you that your successes, however few and far between, have been buried under an avalanche of your seemingly inexcusable setbacks. This is absolutely not true. Your defending angel goes searching, and if he finds the merest trace of Kedusha, he will caress it, dress it in gorgeous robes, and present it before the one who is the source of all holiness. In the heavenly accounting, there is no ledger that sets out on the one side of a column of all of our mitzvot, and on the other side of our averot, with the later neatly canceling out the former as would a calculator. Mitzvot and averot don't stand on an equal footing at all. A mitzvah's reward is eternal, while the punishment for an averah is for a limited time only. Hashem will never deduct a mitzvah from our account to balance out an averah. Though we may stumble, no vengeful red pen draws a cruel line through our beloved, beautiful mitzvot. They stand at our right hand and escort us for all eternity. Even when the likelihood of success seems 1 in 1,000, it would be absurd to slacken off. From Shemayim, we keep getting rewarded for resistance and resilience. We are assured that a single instance of standing unbowed in the face of a fiery passion will cause a tremendous stir in the upper worlds. The forces of evil are dismissed, while the forces of purity are upraised, and there is a great nachat ruach before Hashem. Even if one maintains that his most wrenching efforts will only slightly dent his lustful ways, no detail is too insignificant for Hashem to notice, and every effort will be unendingly rewarded. To use an allegory from the world of commerce, after a business trip abroad with the potential for fabulous profits, the weary traveler arrived home beaming. He was away from home for several months and made his fortune. Ironically, a peek at his records revealed that his newfound wealth was in fact the result of just one quick transaction. His other dealings were actually costly mistakes. Yes, he could perhaps have made a far greater fortune, but at least he knew he came home a millionaire. Looking back, he definitely pulled off a highly successful venture overall. How dear is it to Hashem when we conquer our evil inclination, be it just one instance in a whole day, and we slam down the lid on all the glitter. It is in no way overshadowed by any of our previous blunders. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.